beyond with Shamarie, where the questions matter more than the answers, and every conversation opens a door.
Hello, this is Shamarie, and today I want to talk about something that sits underneath so much of my work. Have you ever had that experience of carrying something, a feeling, a pattern, a symptom, and sensing that the surface explanation, the logical one, the medical one, the obvious one, wasn't quite the whole story? That there was something beneath it waiting to be heard. That is where my work begins. One of the ways I often describe this is medicine names the event, my work explores the terrain. And I want to be clear right from the beginning. The physical layer is real. If there is a physical issue, a medical event, an injury, or something that needs medical care, then physical care matters. The body is not imaginary. Symptoms are not failures of consciousness. Pain is not proof that someone did something wrong. But I've also spent a long time noticing that sometimes there is another layer speaking at the same time. The physical layer is real. The deeper pattern may also be real. And that is where the thread begins. For much of my life, I thought sensitivity was something I needed to manage. I thought if I could just feel less, be less affected, stop picking up on everything, stop noticing what was underneath the words, then maybe I would finally be okay. But over time, I began to understand something different. Sensitivity was not the enemy. Sensitivity was information. The problem was that I did not always have a structure to understand that information. And without structure, sensitive people can become overwhelmed by what they feel. The body feels too much, the heart carries too much, the mind tries to explain everything, the nervous system gets tired, and eventually we can start believing that sensitivity itself is the problem. But often the real problem is that there is no safe map, no language, no rhythm, no way to sort the signal from the noise. And that is why structure matters so much in my work. Not structure as pressure, not structure as control, not structure as a doorway. Sometimes that helps the sensitive system feel safe enough to approach what is already there. When I work with someone, I'm listening for the breadcrumbs. Sometimes it feels like a golden thread. Sometimes it feels more like a quantum superhighway of breadcrumbs. Tiny pieces of information lighting up across the body, the feel, the story, and the timing. A symptom here, a memory there. A phrase a person keeps repeating without realizing it. A body sensation that does not quite match the surface story. A relationship pattern that has been circling for years. A dream image that will not leave them alone. A moment in time that feels too meaningful to ignore. One piece on its own may not make sense, but when the thread is followed carefully, a deeper pattern often begins to reveal itself. And this is where the work becomes less about forcing an answer and more about listening in the right way, because the body often speaks in fragments. The field speaks in patterns. The heart speaks in longing, grief, protection, and desire. And the mind, bless it, often tries to tidy everything into a sensible explanation before the deeper truth has had time to show itself. So we may slow down. We listen. We ask better questions. Not what's wrong with me, but what is this connected to? Where else has this pattern appeared? What does the body know that the mind has not yet caught up with? What is the heart protecting? What is trying to be seen? What is asking to be repaired, released, understood, or brought back into the right relationship. A person might come in with grief, but as we follow the thread, we may find that underneath the grief is not only loss, but loyalty, a promise made long ago, an inherited pattern of carrying another person's sorrow, or the ache of never being fully met. Someone might come in with anxiety, and yes, anxiety has a nervous system component. It may have physical, biochemical, environmental, and psychological layers, and all of that matters. But sometimes when we follow the thread, anxiety is also carrying something else. A fear of stepping out of an old role, a pressure to keep everyone else comfortable, a body memory of being unsafe when visible, a deeper knowing that something in their life is no longer aligned. Someone might come in with exhaustion. And of course, exhaustion needs practical care. Rest matters, food matters, sleep matters, medical support matters, but sometimes exhaustion is also what happens when the heart has been overgiving for too long. When the person has been carrying too much that was never theirs, when the deeper self has been whispering, "I cannot keep doing it this way." This is why I do not like reducing people to a single explanation. We are layered beings: mind, body, heart, field, story, timing, ancestry, relationship, environment, and all of it can matter. The art is not grabbing every possible thread at once. That becomes chaos. The art is learning which thread is alive now, which one has charge, which one is asking to be followed. Without structure, following the thread can become overwhelming, especially for sensitive people, because when you feel a lot, sense a lot, or perceive a lot, more information is not always helpful. Sometimes more information is just more noise. What helps is a way to hold it, a container, a rhythm, a process, a shared language. That is what I have spent decades building in different forms, ways to make the invisible a little more workable. Not to make the mystery smaller. I have no interest in making mystery small, but to make the mystery safer to approach. That is what good structure does. It does not force the door open, it gives the doorway. It says, here is a place to begin, here is a way to listen, here is a rhythm you can return to, and here is a process that can hold more than one mind can explain all at once. And for sensitive people, that can feel like relief, because suddenly the feeling is not floating everywhere, it has somewhere to go. This month we are working with the heart, and I need to say this carefully because the heart is not a project, it's not something to fix or force open or heal on schedule. The heart has its own intelligence, and often when the heart closes, braces, or becomes quietly tired, it is not failing, it is remembering. It is protecting something it was never given the space to set down. For many sensitive people, the heart becomes the place where everything is stored. Love, yes, but also grief, longing, loyalty to people who may no longer be present, an ache of giving and not quite being met. The quiet, persistent hope that if we just love a little more, understand a little more, soften a little more, maybe something will finally shift. That is a lot for one heart to carry. So this month we begin there, not with pressure, not with performance of healing, but stillness, with a structure that holds, with a safe, unhurried place for the heart to show us what it's been carrying, what it has been protecting, and if it is ready, what it might be willing to soften around. Quantum Soul Upgrade is a monthly container built for this kind of work. It's not a course. It's not a library of content to go through. It's not a place where you have to perform being okay, being spiritual, being healed, or being ahead. Each month we gather. We meet on the second Tuesday, the sanctuary session, where I bring the teaching, the guided processes, and the practice for that month. Then something important happens. We give it time. Time to live with it. Time to notice what quietly rises. Time for the body, the heart, the field to respond in their own rhythm. Then on the fourth Tuesday, we return for reset and integration. Not to report back, not to perform progress, but to let the work land somewhere deeper. This is not about consuming more. It's about finally having enough space to feel what is already there. If you've been doing the hard parts alone, carrying the weight of your sensitivity, your awareness, your patterns, without structure to hold it, without a rhythm to return to, without anyone to sit with you in the difficult terrain, then that is what the Quantum Soul Upgrade membership is for. If there is one thing I want people to feel from this episode, it is this: you do not have to do the hard parts alone. You do not have to force your heart open. You do not have to explain every sensation perfectly before it is allowed to matter. You do not have to dismiss the physical later in order to honour the energetic one. And you do not have to abandon the deeper pattern in order to be practical. Both can be true. The physical layer is real. The deeper pattern may also be real. Medicine names the event. My work explores the terrain. And sometimes, when we follow the thread beneath the symptom, we find that the thing we thought was random, strange, overwhelming, or too much was actually carrying information all along. It just needed a safe enough structure to be heard. The May intake for Quantum Soul Upgrade is now open. And this month, the May intake for the Quantum Soul Upgrade is now open until the 10th of May. And this month we are beginning with the heart, not forcing it to open, not fixing it, giving it a safe, steady place to be met. And if that speaks to you, you are welcome, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside.
Every journey changes us a little. Thank you for letting this one be part of yours. Until we meet again, journeys beyond with Shamarie.